So, good morning, everyone. This is I Am Woman Hour, and this morning's topic is this whole theory of collecting email addresses. And you might be thinking, well, why do we need email addresses, and what is that all about? And it's just so important because without building this email list, without actually when you put in your social media posts out there, unless you've got a call to action for them to come back to your website and do an exchange with them, giving them a really important piece. And you having an exchange of an email really is a wasted opportunity. And this morning, I'm sure you're going to question, why am I doing my social media the way I am? Number one. And number two, why haven't I been collecting email data in order for me to start talking directly to my different audiences? Because you've got different audiences as well. So this morning we're going to have such amazing learning, not by an ordinary woman. We've got a website Wonder Woman who is part of us this morning, and the amazing website Wonder Woman is going to give us so many tips and tricks and insights and money saving ideas. It's going to be amazing. So if you're just starting generating email addresses, that is fantastic, because you're going to be actually put on the right foot by somebody who's just, well, I just love Lisa, because she's just so down to earth and just says it as it is, gives you a boot at the bum when you need it, and gives you so many tips and tricks. So can we put our hands together and welcome Lisa? Good morning, Lisa. Welcome. Over to you, Lisa.
Celebrity now.
Celebrity.
It's just me, everyone is fine. Yeah, it was funny actually what you just said, Cheryl, about like the social media type thing, because when I first started out in the world of websites, that was 2007, 2006, 2007, and I did a course on how to create websites, how to do SEO. It was all about blogging and how to make money from your website, that type of thing. And I used to run a party ideas blog, for those that don't know. And I just used to blog, and I used to get 40,000 visitors a month after a year. And that was through blogging. So it wasn't just through blogging, but it was before the days of social media. And I think that we just get, everyone thinks that social media is this place where you can run your business. But I've never been like the person that run my business off social media. I've always used lots of different methods, and the ones that work for me. So it is fine. Email lists is just another thing. When I was blogging, I had like, I used to think I used to have MailChimp as well. I used to send out the blog every week. People could subscribe, all that type of stuff. So it was bringing people back. And I always say about email lists is that people are on there because they want to listen to you. They're already interested in how. I find it much easier to talk to my email list than do posts on Facebook, because I'm like, I'm just posting something on Facebook and somebody might see it that's interested, but then I could post it onto my email list and those people have already said that they're interested in my work and that they're interested in me. So they're more likely to take action. I know I know I said this the other day, but I had my Learn Dash course the other day, and I set up a automated email to about 7 o'clock in the morning. By 9 o'clock, by the time I come into work, I'd already sold 3. I didn't do any social media posts, nothing. I just literally sent an email. So it is, I'm just reading the message now. Oh, I used the one that you sent me last week, because this week's one didn't work. So I just went back to last week's and clicked that.
Okay, that's awesome.
I'm easily distracted. But I think like ever since I started my business back in like 2015, everyone has always spoke about mailing lists, and I was exactly the same. I was like, oh, I don't have to build a mailing list, or I don't have to do this. I can just, people would just come into me anyway. I was very lucky at the beginning of my business that one of the clients that I had, one of the first clients I had was a lady I met in a Facebook group in London, and she had a networking group in London. So I was always doing work for them. But they were all saying, oh, you know, you've got to build this email list. And I was like, oh, I don't really need it. But then when you need it, you can't just build it overnight. So it is something that you need to do early on in your business. I built mine up, and then it was all those changes, like you said, Cheryl, you have to clean your lists up with all the GDPR stuff and that. So we got rid of hundreds of people off ours. I've only got, well, I've got a few hundred now, but it's not like thousands. I know as well, I think it was Lisa Johnson who said it, that you can send emails, but you also need to have calls to action in those emails. And I think I saw a post about it, I think last year or the year before, saying all she did at the bottom of her emails every week, she'd put a link to her product. And she said, obviously she got a massive email list. It increased her revenue by £30,000 a month. She wasn't even like, there was no like, right, okay, buy my stuff. It was just a footer that would give a link to her website to where they could buy stuff. And that's literally all she done. And that's the difference in having a powerful email list. She didn't even have to sell things. She just speak on her email. But because those links were at the bottom, people wanted to find out more and they were buying off her. So it is building up all that type of stuff. I know, I was having a chat with Ellen last week and we were saying about her mailing list. There's lots of things that you can use for your mailing list. I know a lot of people now use MailerLite. There's MailChimp, Active Campaign, which is what I use. I do use Active Campaign and I pay for Active Campaign. The reason being is that I want an automated email sent out every week to my list. And they don't actually do that. Or some of the, and there's other things that they don't actually do in MailerLite, which is why I have to pay. But otherwise, I highly recommend MailerLite. It's far more straightforward than MailChimp. And you don't even need to have a website as such. You just need to have a domain. You can create landing pages in MailerLite. You know, as long as you've got a domain email, because this is the big thing that's been going on now. Since the 1st of February, you have to use a domain email. This has been going on for quite a while. People who use like Gmail and Hotmail addresses and things like that, it's not a business email, it's a personal email address that you've just put your business name in front of. Personal email addresses like Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo and that, they don't have the extra security that the domain email has, because they're just personal email addresses. So they have said for a while they're going to stop it, and they actually have now. So if you're on MailerLite and you've signed up using a Gmail address or Yahoo or whatever, it will no longer send you emails out. You have to have a domain email address. Also, you need to verify your domain, so you have to have a domain name. But like I said, you don't have to have a website because they have landing pages and all that type of stuff. But yeah, it's all well and good to say, yeah, you can get your mailing list, send things out, you earn loads of money, but it is a really hard job. What I tend to do to get people on my mailing list is that I've got quite a few freebies, so things they can opt in for. I've got free courses on like planning your website, creating a website, what else? Oh, doing a website audit. I can't even remember all of them. But what I tend to do is when I write a blog, I'll have a call to action at the end of the blog, and quite a few of those I like to sign up to my mailing list. Because once people are on there, then you can sell to them. Not that I'm like very like hard selling mine, just like literally all I write in my emails, I have the same format every single week, and it's what I've been up to or things that have been going on in the website world to start with. Then the second bit is like my blog, so whatever blog I've written that week, I share that so people are going to my website and reading it. I'm not asking them to buy anything. and then the last bit will usually be like a tip or, you know, something that's helpful. It might be like a little video. It might just be something to, you know, give value to people for being on my mailing list. Because if you're anything like me, I very rarely read people's emails. And then that makes you think, oh yeah, nobody's reading mine. But I read emails of people I enjoy reading their content. So I will literally go on my emails in the morning as soon as I wake up, before my two VAs even have a chance to look at it. And I'll delete a load of emails. But I'll leave ones from people I like hearing off. I like reading their content. I want to read, you know, it could be lots of different content. One person I like reading their emails is a friend of mine, Clay Stevenson. I love reading her emails because they're hysterical and it just makes you want to buy from her. But there's other things like website type emails, like things to keep up to date in the website world that I find interesting. So I read stuff like that. So it's giving the people who are reading your emails what they want to read about. I thought, oh yeah, and I just feel a bit full of myself writing about what I've been doing in my week and blah, blah, blah. But I've had so many messages that people love reading my emails because they just like to know what I'm up to. And they said, it's just you being honest about what you're up to this week. And they were like, they felt more of a connection with me. And somebody actually did book a call with me last year and said, oh, I don't really know much about what you do. I signed up for one of your freebies, but I feel like the last couple of months I've really learned about who you are, and now I want to find out, you know, how can you help me with my website? So it's not like an overnight thing, but people, you know, people are reading them, as long as you're just not like, this is my blog, and then just sharing your blog, because they just, you could do that on social media. It is giving people value. It is giving, you know, writing the right content. Like if you've got social media posts that you're posting all week, you can do like a bit of a roundup of them. I wouldn't just do that mine, because if people are following on social media and on your list, they're gonna be like, we're just reading the same thing. But I normally pick one post and then I go into further detail about that, about what's happened and all that type of stuff. But yeah, that's like the content type thing. Getting people on your list, it is freebies. I know, Ellen, I know you've got, what was we doing last week with your group, wasn't it, to send out, to sign up to find more information about your group. Anyone else got any other freebies that they do, or you just don't do anything? Karen, have you got, what freebies have you got?
Oh God, loads of stuff. I've got a free book template. What else have I got? Free discovery call to have a chat about what's that. Free ebooks covering the basics of publishing a book. So sort of 10 things you need to know. Or 3 steps to publishing a book, something like that. Just depending on where they are in the sales process or where they are in publishing the book. So for people who don't know where to start, there is an opt-in. For people who are in the middle but about to publish, there's like a checklist. For people who want to know what to do next, then there's discovery call as well. So I think it's almost about creating an opt-in to segment your list to know where people are in the process of writing their book, so that I can tailor the content to where they are and what they need to read, as opposed to, I've not started writing a book, but I'm telling somebody how to publish it right at the end of the process, which they don't need to know at that stage.
I think
Makes
that's really
sense.
good as well, like the segmentation thing, like, so with MailerLite, MailChimp, all that type of stuff. In the
Yeah.
GDPR bit at the bottom, you can always put add to this group, add to that group, depending on their interests and things like that.
Yeah.
So you can send out more tailored content to people. And I was speaking to someone last week, actually, Karen, about the different stages and different audiences. So what they were saying is that I sometimes struggle to get people to sign up to my free website planning course, because it's quite a big thing. Apparently, if people have a cold audience, so they don't know who you are, all they want is like a PDF or something short, so they can just find out a little bit more about you. A warm audience wants like videos, short courses, all that type of stuff, because they already know who you are. That if they're a cold audience, they just want something quick and simple that they can just dip their toe in and say, actually, who is that person? What do they do? And then they might go on to sign up for some of your other freebies now that they're in your world. So it made me think, like, putting mine into like, what's for a cold audience, what's for a warm audience, and that's what I was doing last week. Just deciding, like, most people don't want to sign up to your like Facebook group and all that type of stuff if they don't know you. They want to just something quick to find out who you are. I sign up for loads of freebies.
Yeah, but I think an awful lot of the freebies, it tells you about the quality of the stuff that people produce as well. And that gives you an indication of, is this piece of person at the beginning of their journey, is the stuff quick and easy, or is it more polished, in which case you expect to be charged more by that person as well. So it's interesting what they communicate without communicating as well. And there's several people I know where once you're on their email list, they have a page for all the downloads. So you can access, so they know where you are in the journey, but they're giving you access to all the other stuff, so you don't have to faff around. And again, that creates extra value because, you can see that the values that this person is sort of doing for their business, that, I'm not here to waste your time. These are the things that you will find useful further along in your journey, but this is what we're going to talk about now.
Yeah, and I think like that's exactly right. Like, I've been meaning to segment my list for people like that are interested in do it yourself or interested in done for you work, so I can target them differently. At the bottom of my emails, I do have the two different things, so they can choose what to go look at. And I do have a page like with links that like free stuff, paid stuff, so people can find out more. So even if like you don't have a website, you could do that on like Linktree, bio links. I think I used to have. I have put it on my website now because I was using bio links. I'm always telling people, always have everything on your website. And then I was sending them somewhere else. So I was like, it was just that actually designing the page and just getting it on there. And in the end, I just chucked a load of buttons on a page with links.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing because, sorry.
What?
I was going to say, one thing that I've noticed is that people are doing things like Linktree and just linking to social media and not going into this business of not having a website without realizing it's actually a huge red flag, because it almost looks like you're bootstrapping your business and you can't afford a website, in which case can I afford to work with you? Because you're at the beginning and you don't know enough about business to have the basics in place, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I did see someone post last week and they said, oh, all you need is a certain social media platform. You don't need a website to make money. You need blah, blah, blah. But then that person has got a website. They sell off their website. And I remember being a podcast guest for someone before, and there was a coach that she knew, and she had this like 5 to 10 grand package. I can't remember. And she said she was really interested. She was following on her social media. She signed up to a mailing list. She was really, really interested. And when she asked about her different packages, and she wanted to find a high-end coach, and she had the money to pay for it. And she said, when she asked about her packages, she was like, I can just send you over a Stripe link. And she said, well, have you got more information on your website? She said, oh, I haven't got a website. She said, I can't buy from you. She said, that trust was gone. That credibility was completely gone, because she said, if she's selling 5 to 10 grand packages, and she hasn't got a website, it, like you said, is she really a business type thing? But like, she had the mailing list, and that's fine to start with, but you still do need all the other things.
It's like having your own property, and it's the difference between buy and rent. So if you have a rental property and you rent as a tenant, it doesn't take an awful lot for you to get evicted and for the person to increase the rent and force you to move on. Whereas if you buy your house, even if it's mortgaged, people can't get rid of you easily and people know where to find you. You've got your own address on there and you're not going to be faffing around moving or so, just in some business, it's almost like people are couch surfing by not having their own website or being on somebody else's, and putting your eggs in one basket is just not a good idea. So I've seen coaches where they're just completely on Kajabi, but nobody asks the question is what happens if Kajabi goes bust or wherever it's hosted suddenly takes umbrage with them, then you've lost everything. Whereas if you have your own website, if your host takes umbrage, you can move your website domain and everything that goes with it quite easily. But if you've got everything in one place, all your eggs are in one basket and that basket crash, all your eggs are broken. So
I did read something about this last week about people having all these all-in-one platforms, and it's great because everything's in one place. But like you said, if something goes down, so people were commenting and saying have your email separate to your website, have your email listed going from a different place, because you've always got that contact then. You've always got, if one thing goes down, you've got something else. An email list is something that you own. It is your data. Nobody can just take it off out. They can unsubscribe, don't get me wrong.
the thing is, you can just export your mailing list onto a spreadsheet, import it into the next business that you go with. So, but with something, sorry, not bargain. It's very easy to just put your eggs in one basket. And I know with Jeff Walker, who did the book called Launch, one thing that he specifically did, which Denise Duffield Thomas didn't. Denise moved everything onto Kajabi, and he was very clear this is not something he would do, and it was not something he would advise for that very reason, because he does not want all his eggs in one basket, and he would rather have somebody else maintain the background than Kajabi, which is great for people where everything's maintained, the website's maintained, you don't have to worry about security. But at the same time, if anything happened, then it happens to every single customer. So it makes them more liable to be targeted by hackers than it would be if it was your own website. If you've got a small website, chances are nobody's interested in hacking it because there's no money in it for them. But if you've got something like Kajabi where you know that all these $1 million businesses on there, they're primed to be hacked. And if you get hacked, then yes, they have to recover it. But you're responsible and accountable for all your information.
I wonder if we could talk, Lisa, about this whole process that people will be going through, as far as, number one, seeing this email contact as a real person, because I think people have got so familiar with just posting on social media, just throwing a net out there in the hope that somebody's going to read their mail, as opposed to really thinking through building an audience, because the closer you are to that audience, the more likely is they're going to buy from you, and getting really clear about, okay, who is this audience? What are their problems? What particular problem am I there to solve? And when it comes to creating this freebie, being really clear about the segment of the market that they want to talk to, they want to reach, they want to work with. And from what I'm understanding, the better the quality piece of freebie you give away, people will then see, wow, this has value. I can see this person takes a lot of care doing what they do, and this is the kind of person I'm going to want to do business with. But what is the process then? Because I think people are going to get confused with regards to the process of where they're starting, and almost like what stepping stones or pieces of technology or software do they need to follow this process?
I think all you need is mailing list software. When you've got MailerLite, you do have to have a website because they go and check it for anti-spam laws unless you're going to use their landing pages, that type of thing. But you just need to sign up. You can create a form. that you can just put on social media, you can put on your website, you can put it wherever you want. That form, you can either copy it onto your website, or they give you your own link, which is stored in their systems. MailerLite is free up to 1,000 people on your list. So you've got plenty of time to be building up this list before you need to start paying. Then what you can do, like Karen said, you can use segments. You can use different groups in MailerLite for different things. So it could be that, yes, they all get added to your mailing list, but you've also got separate groups, such as like, these ones signed up for the planning course, these ones signed up for this. So you can send them tailored emails as well, depending on what they signed up for. Like you said, Cheryl, about posting social media, post your link, try and get people to sign up to your list. I think that, I can't remember the exact figures off the top of my head, but I think that the open rate for emails is far higher than what people see on your social media. I can't remember the exact figure. I'm not very good with numbers and remembering numbers, but I think it's like 2% or something of people see your posts on your like Facebook page and stuff like that, where about 30% of people open your emails. So a lot more people are actually seeing your content. And it is, like you said, Cheryl, it's like they need to get to know you. It is about posting about like, not just like, okay, sign up to my mailing list, sign up to my freebie, and then bombarding them with sales emails saying, like, buy this, buy that, because that's going to put people off as well. But like where you said about the freebies, you're exactly right. I think that if people are not going to get anything from your actual freebies, they're going to think, well, I'm not going to get anything from working with them. So it is about looking at your audience. What do your audience want? What stage of the buying process are they? What segments are they in? Like you said, Karen, are they writing a book? Or are they in the middle of it? Have they wrote a book they want it published? What stage? And you have to really, really know your ideal clients to think like, what would they need? What can I give them to help them on their journey? What type of things they want to hear about? Why would they sign up to my list? And let me tell you, very, very few people just sign up to your list because you put on your website, sign up to my mailing list. People haven't got time unless they're really interested in you. They're not going to just sign up to your mailing list for no reason. You have to give them something, and knowing what they want, like what is missing from your paid thing to them first knowing, how can you give them an idea of what they could use, like what fits in between. So when they first get to know you, or they've just first heard you, and they think, oh, right, okay, you say, right, sign up to my mailing list and get X, Y, Z. How is that going to help them? What type of people is that for? It's all that type of stuff, but it is all about knowing your client and what they want. I don't know, has anybody else got any freebies? Cheryl, have you got any freebies to sign up for the list?
Oh, well, I did this freebie and it ended up being a mammoth piece. It ended up being checked out by the Institute of Leadership. They said it would take them too much time to even read. And I was thinking, I don't think I'm going down the wrong path with doing this. But what was really interesting, what you just said there, and I think this is gold dust for everyone. I don't have it, but nobody tells you that you need a button on your front page of your website saying sign up to my email list. Nobody, I've never seen that on a website. Sign up to my email list. Never seen it, but it's so obvious. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a button at the top of mine, and I change it depending if I'm. So when people land on your website, the top right hand corner is like what they call prime real estate, because that's what people notice the most, right? So I've got a button in the top right hand corner, and when I'm promoting a freebie or something like that, or I'm promoting a challenge, or we're doing something, I always change that button in the top right hand corner, because that's what people notice. So you can still have a page and you can have other things, but you've got to find all different ways of driving people. It's the same as a website. You need to get people on your list. They're not going to just sign up because you've made a form. But what I would say as well is when you have your freebie, send out an automated email after it, have a nurture sequence so they can start finding out a bit more about you. Most people, I think I read the other day that 3 to 6 emails after someone signs up for the freebie. I normally do about 3. But it is, so when someone signs up for my course, then they get an email 3 days later. They get an email straight away saying, this is your login details, this is what you need to do, blah, blah, blah. And then 3 days later, they get another email that says, have you started the course yet? Are you stuck on anything? Do you want to jump on a call? Let's see how we can help out, blah, blah, blah. There's either 3 or 4, I can't remember now. But the last one says, if you've planned it out, do you want to find out more about what you can do with that plan? Let's help you turn that into a website. Do you want us to do it for you, or do you want us to show you how to do it? That type of thing. Like with my audit checklist, they can go through and do an audit on their website. And then a couple of emails later, it says, you know, are you still struggling doing that audit? We know how busy you are. Tell you what, let's jump on a Zoom call for an hour with a strategy session and let's do it together type thing. So people are really busy, and lots of people sign up for freebies and look at them. I download PDFs and then they're all saved on my desktop, but I don't actually look at them. So but I do think, because I've read the copy and I've read what it is, I think, oh my God, that's really interesting. But then you've got to follow through with it, because I've downloaded PDFs before and it's just common things, that common knowledge type thing. There's no value in it. It's just something that they've used on Facebook post and then copied into a PDF. And I'm like,
That's
right.
really interesting though, Lisa, what you said, you know, thinking of somebody like Ellen, if she was to give, you know, create a giveaway, but then, as you said, link it to it. I hope you've got value out of this, but you're obviously really busy. Why don't we set up a strategy? You've almost got your next sale, haven't you?
Yeah,
You've
it's
almost
got to all be connected.
yeah. So
It's not just, let's get them on my list by downloading this PDF and then they're there, and then one day they might buy something from me. It's like getting them on your list and then like nurturing them and then saying, oh, actually, this is the ways that I can help out. And you don't have to be overpowering, like buy my stuff and like really be salesy and that, because if they've enjoyed your freebie, you're more likely to be able to, like, you know, they want to know about a bit more about you then. All that type of thing. It's all quite straightforward. And I know even in with what's it called? Lisa Johnson's One-to-Many, they set them up with a website. They don't actually set them up with a website, they set them up with an opt-in page. Because that's what you should do, even if, you know, that's one of the first things you do, is start building those lists, start building up all those leads and things like that, that people are interested in you and that you can speak to them. And you don't have to send an email like out every day, every week, but I always say, if you're not going to do it regularly, there's no point in doing it at all. Because if people don't hear from you for ages and then 6 months later you say, I'm back, and then you disappear again, it's like the social media consistency thing. And people are like, oh, they're a bit flaky, they say and they back and now they've gone again. Do you know what I mean? So you have got to keep to that routine. I'll give you a tip. What I do is I schedule an email for a Wednesday morning at like 7 or 8 o'clock. And then throughout the week, I try and find time to actually put the stuff in that email, or it's going to go out blank. So that's what I do to try it, like my newsletter, to make me do it. But it only takes me about half hour to write a newsletter. And like I said, once you've got that format that you know people will want to read, but it is about keeping in touch with them. You can't just like get them to sign up as a freebie and then they never ever hear from you again.
About create understanding your sales sequence, isn't it?
Yes.
So that if you know the audience you want to speak to, it's knowing their problems and then creating this, you know, essential freebie for them, and then thinking, okay, they putting out a social media post, or, you know, working on your email list by telling people you've got this additional freebie, because you might want to segment in sending out the emails. But then when you've got them, following through. So, going back to the Ellen example, if she is sent out, say, for example, a diet plan or something, it's then saying, you must be really busy, but have you had time to work through this? Do you want to jump on, even if it's a free discovery call, you get them to jump on to next. But it's thinking through, what is the sales sequence for catching this fish that I want to do some business with further down the line? I've also learned as well is that you shouldn't send out repeated sales pieces. You should do almost like 4 friendly ones where they're getting to know you, and then a sales, almost like, illustrating to them, perhaps a jump on a call that they pay for, or that they can buy a piece of online learning. But the buying piece should almost be on the 5th email, and the 4 should be just keeping them sweet, keeping them warm, chatty. So it's not all salesy, salesy, salesy.
Yeah, because I think like those are the type of emails that you get. Like I know when I look at my emails, like I do try and unsubscribe if I have some time. But generally you sign up to these things because they've given you something free, and then they send you free, sales emails constantly, and you don't want to read it. I actually I unsubscribed from someone last week because I've worked with them in the past. And they sent an email and was like, they wrote something in their email about people, if they can't be bothered to read their emails and they're unsubscribing, they're never going to get anywhere in their business. And I just thought that was really rude. So I just unsubscribed, because the only emails I get off them now are like sales emails. When I've done their course now, there was nothing else. They're just still trying to sell the same thing. And the people that have already been through that, they don't want to know about that. So that's where segmentation is good as well. Because like I know, Ellen, you do like this 2-week program thing. We've talked about it last week. So if you kept sending emails to that, people who've already done that before, are they going to get annoyed? Do they come back in? Do you know what I mean? It's like if every email is trying to get people into that group, the people that are, they're there now. I see this when these big coaches have affiliate launches, right? And then all their affiliates, they all emailing you about exactly the same thing because they want to earn this money. But then there are some who says, if you click here, you'll just get our normal emails. You can opt out to these emails. So it is about that segmentation type thing. And knowing what, it's knowing what people want to hear, and it's not boring them, or like you said, Cheryl, like trying to like be really salesy with them. But it is,
That's a lovely, they're pink and they got lots of drawings and, clips of art. And what I'm noticing, especially with the big coaches, what they're doing is this header, and then it feels like a mile of text. And you're thinking, who's got the time to read all this black and white text with no illustrations? It almost feels as though, why are they rambling for so long?
yeah.
Where visual people just don't feel engaged in it all. So what's
I
your
will say though, with that, the reason being is the more images you put in, the more likely your email is going to go to spam. So that's why a lot of them just have text, because if you start putting images and all that type of stuff, especially if people have got their emails, it's like HTML and text-based emails, they don't show up. It is more likely the more images you got that your email is going to go to spam, which is why it's more text-based. But I tend to split mine up into 3 sections, so it's not just one long, like a letter type thing. But that is why they do that.
It's colourful, and do you know what I mean? You feel as though you're almost reading a mini magazine, and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
well, how come Lisa's is so engaging, but the other ones I'm looking at just a whole load of text, and they're
Yeah.
putting them out daily. What's that about?
Yeah, I think there is, oversharing. But I don't think that there's any like right or wrong way. It depends on your audience, and it might be that if you were getting annoyed with that you might not be the right fit with them, but then there might be a group of people who are, and they enjoy hearing them off there, and they are buying off them. Do you get what I mean? So it is knowing your audience, and not everybody's going to be your cup of tea, and you are not going to be theirs. But it's trying different things and seeing what works. Because if you don't try, you won't know. So, you know, it is just, go on, Ellen, you put your hand up. You just, all my screen just moved then. I was like, what's going on?
And
Is it, is it, is it better, you know, how long? Because I've signed up to loads of emails and I don't think I've ever read a single one from start to finish. So because they're too long and you think, oh God, I haven't got time. So is there a guideline as in keep them short and sweet? Is that going to attract more than having, you know, endless scrolling, or just try anything and see what sticks?
I think it is trying to see what fits with your audience, because everyone's going to be different. But I also think, like, if you just write a load of text, what is that content? I'm a scan reader and I find it hard if I see a load of text, like Cheryl said, I'm like, I can't be bothered. It's got to be all separated type thing. It freaks me out. But if you were giving content, so say someone came to you and like Cheryl said now earlier about like you created like a free meal plan type thing, right? And then people got on your list, then you could be talking to them then about this meal plan, how they can improve it, blah, blah, blah. So it could go on. So they're going to start reading your emails then because you were giving them value in the emails. It's related to the freebie what you've given out. It's like when, you know, like all these big, I know you don't do like a slimming, it's nutrition type thing, but these slimming groups, they always got like a 7-day meal planner or something like that, or 3-day meal planner. People go away and try that and then see, oh, actually the food on here is quite nice. It's really worked for me in like 3 or 7 days. I can feel the difference. And then when people are emailing, I'm like 3 days later, have you started it? Do you enjoy it? You know, how can I help you further? That type of thing, but it's giving them more value. Actually, did you try this recipe because this goes really well with that? Or have you tried eating this food because this is going to boost this? Or, you know, you can tell I don't know anything about nutrition, right? But you know what I mean, don't know? Like, you know, you could be giving them extra tips then, so that, yes, all right, they've had that freebie, but you're giving them extra tips in the emails, the follow-up emails, that's going to help them make the most of that freebie. So, you know, like I said, it is extra little things that they feel like that they value then, and you are still helping them, even though you've given them the freebie, they've given you their email address, but you haven't just forgot about it now, you're still trying to help them. And then they're going to be more interested to, you know, see what other things that you do then as well.
That's a great roundup sort of example there. And I really like the comment in the chat box from Karen, you know, recognizing that we do need to date people when we send in these emails, or they're not going to marry us straight away and make a purchase from us.
I like that.
Yeah, so it's really thinking through, how can I create this dating relationship with my audience to get to know them, you know, and not do the hard sell. So we're getting to about 11:51. Yeah, thank you so much, Lisa, for sharing your ideas. I'd love to dip in with everyone to find out now, where are they at? Where is everyone at with regards to what it is that you've learned? And what one idea are you going to put into action, and how are you going to do it? So we're going to come to you, Tracy. So what one idea are you going to put into action? Because you're starting from scratch to put this email list together and really thinking through, you know, your audience, their problems. So what one idea have you got?
Well, probably not one idea. It's just setting up the website and then the email, you know, how to do it from there, because I'm not very technically able, shall we say. So I am going to need some help and support on that. But yeah, obviously I realize that there's well, I didn't realize all the different, you know, Lisa was talking about MailerLite and MailChimp, and I think I just need to do a bit more research into all those. But the key thing for me was obviously the domain name and the domain email, you know, not at Outlook or at Gmail or whatever it is. So,
and like, I'm always happy to help with stuff like that. Like all these people with this domain issue, we've been fixing them for the last 2 weeks for free. We haven't charged people because it is literally a 5-minute job for us, where it could be like a 2-hour job for you. Do you know what I mean? But it is then that people remember that. Do you know what I mean? So
absolutely.
And it's
Were you?
recognizing if you get it put right the first time, it's just rinse and repeat then. Once you've got this whole setting it up on your front page, understanding your email sequence, understanding, you know, how to keep this audience warm and how to write the emails. Once you've done it once, it's just rinse and repeat, isn't it? Just rinse and repeat. So if you need help setting up, then we have our website Wonderwoman, who's one of the folders. It will help you. So coming to you then, Heather, you're a newbie as well in business. So what's going to be your piece that you're going to take away from today, and how will you put it into action?
So I'm in the same boat as Tracy. I'm just literally setting up my website, and I've got to learn now how to actually add it on, add the signing on to the newsletter via the website and getting that link. I've got a query though. I was in another ladies' meeting a couple of nights ago, and there were two VAs there, and they were saying something about you've got to have a qualification to cover you for GDPR for having people's emails and things. Do you know anything about that at all, Lisa?
In my group, I've got a lady called Sarah Richards, and she's based like Newport Way. She's a GDPR specialist, so she checks all my stuff. She writes all the policies. She knows exactly what she's talking about. She's been doing it for years. She did do a masterclass, but I can try and find for you if you want, about GDPR and using MailerLite and using different things. So it is about, you need to make sure that you're not just adding them to the list without their knowledge. You've got to say that they're going to be added to a mailing list and they can unsubscribe. And there's lots of different things. But
so do you need to have like a policy on your website?
Yes.
Like a GDPR policy on your website? So that's something I would need to
privacy
try
policy.
out. Okay, yeah, that's great. Thank you.
And it's so easy to download a GDPR policy. You could go into artificial intelligence and they'll write you one. Yeah.
Termly.io, that's free as well. That'll create you a policy. It'll ask you questions. And then
Which one, sorry?
Termly.io is called.
Could you pop it in the chat box?
I will.
Fantastic. Ellen, over to you. So what
Thanks, Lisa.
did you put into action?
What struck me was the segmenting, you know, and thinking what emails you want to send out to the people who haven't yet come on your courses. And then, of course, once they've done your course, what then, isn't it? What's the different emails you're going to give them? Keep them interested in doing another course or staying with you. So that's what I haven't thought about before. So that struck a chord, really.
Fantastic, thank you, Ellen. And coming to you, Karen, I feel as though you're an old hand at this. So what light bulb of learning have you had? What might you do differently from this morning?
I think it's just a kick up the bum and reminding me to be consistent. I'm kind of changing an awful lot of what I'm doing anyway, and until I'm clear on what that's going to look like, this is why I haven't sort of communicated it to everybody. But I always think, you know, have your own website, have your own email list, have your own social media channels. Recognize that social media channels will change and will go down, but having your own stuff is so much more important. And yes, there are platforms that are really useful to have, but don't put your eggs in one basket.
Lovely. Thank you, Karen. And coming to you, Julie. So what have you picked up from this morning? How might you put it into action?
There's so much I've got to put into action, Cheryl. It's like, oh. So yeah, so even though I've been obviously doing my making and everything for a while, I am really starting from scratch because I'm just in the process of I've put my website together, or I'm getting someone to do it. It was a free website to begin with, and now it's turned into be a complete cash cow, and it's like, oh my God. So I'm linking System.io to it, which is similar to MailerLite. So yeah, I just need to get cracking. But I think the light bulb moments are about creating my freebies because I've got loads of ideas in my head, but I just need to get on and just do it instead of thinking. I just need to put it all into action. And also having that button on your website page saying sign up to my mail list. So yeah.
And keep it simple. I think the most downloaded piece, a freebie I put out there, was a one-page business plan. People loved that. It was just a one-page business plan. Really easy for people to read.
Quick and easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
the techie thing that was almost like 35 pages that nobody wanted to read, yeah, never even actually became a freebie because it was just too complicated. So
Yeah.
sometimes you can just overcomplicate things and then you never use them. So just keep it simple.
Okay.
So over to you, Mel. What light bulb of learning have you had this morning?
Well, yeah, all of it really that I need to think about, because I don't actually have email lists, because obviously I've been going through the middleman, or the the third party. So this is all really, really useful for me for now when I'm going out directly to clients, rather than getting those clients in from the training providers and colleges and so forth. But yeah, I really liked that. I mean, all of it. I don't know which bit to pick really, because it was all really, really useful. I love, especially I love the whole sort of, not just the call to action thing, but the link or a button to signing up to the email address as well, or to receive emails, because this is, yeah, I'm definitely going to be calling on Lisa when I get round to doing this, because I just haven't got a clue where to start. And you have all these questions, don't you? Like, how do I start? How would I even know who to, to kind of advertise this to, or how would I promote it, and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, this is all really useful. Yeah, thank you, Lisa.
You, Mel. And last but not least, Lynn, because you're starting up and have got a really specific audience. So how are you going to manage this whole process?
I have no idea really. This was really interesting, and definitely the cogs are all moving. A couple of things that sort of were highlighted to me, and that is make them funny. I think sometimes we forget that we're sending emails to human beings. And I know that I almost try and cover up that side of me sometimes to make it look more professional, but actually I'm hearing that actually, if it's funny and life is funny, then people are more likely to engage. And the other thing is that I think you mentioned, Cheryl, sales sequence. So yeah, there needs to be a sequence. It needs to make sense. So I think it's some time to put aside to actually think about what that is before even thinking about what those freebies can be. It needs to be relevant. So fun, really, really fascinating. My mind's going.
If you're very
Thank you.
visual, that I learned about this was thinking of it as an umbrella. So you've got all the spokes of the things that you could talk about, but it's almost like the key to an umbrella is having a handle on it. So it's thinking about that handle. What is that all about? Yeah, that
Yeah.
leads to the spokes. Otherwise, we can just be putting stuff out there that has no rhyme or reason or connection
Yeah.
to one another, and it's not actually held together by anything. Because really, we want to get a handle on this process and then convert it to a sale. So
I do think,
sorry, Lisa, over to you.
I do think as well what you said, Lynn, it's like, oh, you're trying to be funny. Just use your personality, because people are reading it because they want to get to know you and how you work. But where I said that I write things and I'm like, I don't just write what I've been up to this week. It's kind of like a lesson or a learning in that, and what I've learned in this week through what I've done. Do you get what I mean? So then it's still giving value to people. But then it is still you, so they are learning about you. So yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. Can we give Lisa a round of applause? Thank you, Lisa. We've learned all so much. And
I say one thing really quickly. I spoke to Ellen about this last week. I have a MailerLite course that I haven't put up for sale yet because some of it needs updating to the new stuff. But I will put it in the group, and I will put a link so you can all have it for free and you can all have it.
Thank you so
Thank you,
Thank you.
Lisa. Thank you so much.
It does need updating, which is on my list to do, right? Because some of it's the old version and some is the new. So, but you can have a look. But it's the GDPR stuff, everything is in there. So it hasn't gone up for sale yet because I need to redo it.
fabulous gift. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next Monday, I Am Woman will be coming from Dublin. So next week, I'm off to Dublin because Karen, do you want to say what you did with regard to Stephen Bartlett from the Dragons?
Well, Facebook came up with this notification Stephen Bartlett was coming to Dublin, and Cheryl had already said that one of her goals was actually to meet him. So I bought 2 tickets, and I bought 2 VIP tickets, and then I messaged Cheryl saying, no, he's coming to Dublin. I've got 2 tickets. Do you want them? Don't worry if you don't want them, because I've got other people who buy them. But it was just like, yeah, I'm in there. So Cheryl's coming over on Saturday, buggering off again on Monday, and we're just gonna have a jolly old time. We've got Life of Pi tickets that I'd already had to see. We've got VIP time with Stephen Bartlett, and it's just gonna be so much fun. But there is an alert out in Dublin for when Gerald comes over.
So we're going to be doing Iron Woman from Dublin next week.
A hotel in Dublin, yeah.
Review of the Stephen Bartlett experience. So it'll just be a bit of fun and sharing what it is that he's taught us through, you know, his presentation in the evening. But we will love to share that with you from Dublin. So look forward to seeing you then. So have a great week ahead, and look forward to seeing you next week from Dublin. And thank you,
Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.